So you decided to go to Italy on an adults-only vacation. Congratulations! You booked your flights and are working with a travel agent or on your own, or you're looking at cruises and perhaps a Mediterranean cruise with a stop for a day or more in Rome. You've also decided on what you want to see and experience during your time in Rome, and possibly some package tours. However, which are the good tour companies with good tour guides that you should use, and which are the ones you should avoid? This is where this short video can come in. Hi, I'm Dan from Nancy and Dan Travel the World. I recently returned from 2 weeks over in Europe, where we stayed in both Italy, primarily in Rome, and in Athens, Greece, before a 1-week Greek island cruise. It was fantastic. We thought it would be helpful to you for Nancy and I to share which specific tours, excursions, and car services we actually used during our short time in Italy that were great and we recommend for you, like our tour of the Vatican, and which we recommend you stay away from, like our particular tour to Pompeii and the Amalfi Coast. In this short video, we're going to summarize for you of each and every car service, excursion, tour that we experienced during our 4 days in Rome this past summer of 2024. Some of the tours were great, some of the tour guides excellent, some you should avoid. We will shortly have more videos on all our experiences in Italy and Greece and on the Greek island cruise to help you plan for yourself such a vacation. If that sounds interesting and possibly helpful for your future adult travel plans, then please consider subscribing to our Nancy and Dan Travel the World channel and click that notification bell right now so you are notified of all our future adult travel videos, which are between 1 and 3 each and every week. So for now, let's start our 60-second review of each car service, tour, and excursion that we personally experienced during our 4 days in Rome. And we'll go through them on the sequence of our stay there, day 1, day 2, day 3, and so on. For each excursion, tour, and car service, we will tell you the tour or car service itself, how we booked them, the name of the actual provider of the service or the tour, a simple great versus okay versus disappointed rating and why, and the issues we encountered, and we'll also tell you what we would have done differently knowing what we know now and having experienced it for ourselves. Let's begin. Day 1. We arrived at Rome's Leonardo da Vinci Airport, the call letters FCO, in the late morning. So we pre-booked a car service to take us from the airport to our hotel. We booked it through Viator. The name of the actual provider of the car service was Decus Italia. The rating? I have to say, all in all, it was disappointing. So, what were the issues? Well, you're arriving on a red-eye flight from the States, and you're retired, you just want to get to your hotel. For us, the driver was not waiting for us when we arrived. This is what it was like when we arrived at Terminal 3 at FCO Airport, having passed through security and passport control and exited the baggage claim. Yes, it was, as they say, a zoo. It was incredibly hectic. You can see lots and lots of drivers hired for other passengers with their names, but ours was nowhere to be seen. He showed up 15 to 20 minutes late. Now, to be fair, the day we arrived, it was crowded in Rome due to the ending of Italy's version of France's Tour de France, yet a good driver should have accounted for this. We did receive a text from his dispatcher, yet we were on our own to wait in this chaos, hearing nothing from the driver himself. Once the driver arrived, then the driver had us walk 15 minutes with him to where he parked the car in the midday Roman sun, just after arriving on a sleep-deprived red-eye flight. Next time, we would definitely book a pre-arranged car service from the airport to take us to our hotel, yet we would use a different car service. So book one that will not keep you waiting and one that will park a lot closer to the terminal and possibly even bring the car to you, rather than make you walk in the hot sun, all jet-lagged and tired. For our first full day in Rome, which would be day 2, we decided to take a small group, maximum 18 people, day tour down to see Pompeii and the Amalfi Coast. How did we book them? Through Viator. The actual provider of the service is called WOX, Italy, Spain, and Greece. For our rating, we're giving it both a great and a disappointing combined rating. Why? Pompeii lived up to its billing. It's about a 3-hour drive from Rome to Pompeii, including a rest stop. The rest stop was at an outlet that was under construction, included retail, souvenir store, some food, and bathrooms. The Pompeii part of the tour was great. The local guide, very informative. In that respect, Pompeii did not disappoint. The Amalfi Coast did not live up to its billing. No tour at all. It simply drove us to Positano, a town on the Amalfi Coast, when we were then on our own for lunch and to walk around for a couple of hours, then to drive back to Rome. The tour guide in the bus was not really a tour guide, more of a chaperone. Not sure of the value provided that the driver could not have done himself. Yet this was the most expensive tour of all the tours we did during our tour weeks in Europe. The tour guide also insisted we stop back at the same identical under construction restaurant stop after we've already stopped at a different one earlier on the drive back because some of those in the bus needed to use the bathroom. There was no need for the second stop at all. The first rest stop and potty break would have been fine, but the tour guide insisted. Next time, we would do the drive or perhaps take the train to Pompeii, but we would skip the Amalfi Coast portion and skip this tour company. If possible, perhaps even staying for a few days in the Amalfi Coast area and do some self-touring would be in our plans. Day 3, Nancy and I decided to take a tour of the Vatican, including the Vatican Museum, the Sistine Chapel, and St. Peter's Basilica. For this tour, we used a different site and different tour provider. We booked it directly on the website of LivTours, a relatively new entrant into the package tours in Europe. For the rating, it was great. There were only 6 of us on the tour. The tour guide majored in art history, and she brought all of this experience and training to bear during our time with her. The tour was 4 hours long, including the Vatican Museum, the Sistine Chapel, where of course no filming or pictures is allowed, and St. Peter's Basilica. There were no issues encountered at all. Our wonderful tour guide, Laura, was incredible at explaining the art we would see, guiding us on many of the details of the paintings and the sculptures and the rooms we entered that provided incredible context for us. She even knew where to take great pictures of us in and around the Vatican Museum like this one, and of course in St. Peter's Basilica. Next time, we would absolutely use LivTours again, and we would ask for Laura again. When we have published 1 or 2 videos of our Vatican guided tour with Laura, we will post a link right here for you so you can see for yourself. Now to day 4, Nancy and I took a combined tour of the Colosseum, the Roman Forum, and Palatine Hill. We booked the Roman Colosseum, Roman Forum, and Palatine Hill through Viator. The provider of this service was the tour guide. For our rating, we would give it an okay. There were 2 issues. First, even with our tour starting at 9:30, we had long lines to wait inside and outside the Colosseum, as well as before we could enter the Roman Forum in the hot Roman early summer sun. The crowds of tourists were huge and not very well organized at all inside the Colosseum, so it made challenging to keep up with our tour guide at the best of times. Our tour group had about 25 people in total. The Colosseum tour took about 3 hours or so. There are better options for earlier in the day or late in the afternoon or evening, as well as perhaps consider a semi-private tour. The second issue we had, the Roman Forum and Palatine Hill, took another 2 hours plus, with so much of it still in the hot midday sun with little chance for a break, other than a potty break before the Roman Forum portion. This area has a ton of history, which was lost on us, unfortunately, because our energy levels were starting to sink in the long tour outside with the large crowds and hot sun. 5 hours outside on a tour on a hot, sunny Roman day in the late spring really is too much to expect. Next time, If time permits, we would separate out the Roman Colosseum tour from the Roman Forum and Palatine Hill tour, or just do the Roman Colosseum guided tour, then a self-tour with audio of the Roman Forum and Palatine Hill. It's just too long in the spring and summer, starting at 9:30 in the morning. Day 5. Nancy and I were leaving Rome for Athens. So we took a pre-arranged car service to take us from our hotel back to Rome's Leonardo da Vinci Airport. For our ride back to the airport from our hotel to catch our flight to Athens, we booked this through Viator once again, and the actual provider of the car service was also Decus Italia, the same as car service upon arrival at the FCO airport. Our rating this time was great. There were no issues encountered. The driver was actually at the hotel 10 minutes early and provided nice views of Rome like this on the way to the airport. Next time, however, based on conversations, we likely overpaid about 30% compared to just having concierge at the hotel pre-arrange a car service for us. We will ask the hotel concierge to do this for us on our next trip. Now, we do not recommend taking pre-arranged tours for everything that you do and all your experiences in Rome. Here, for example, is a video of where we purchased for ourselves online for €5 each tickets to see the Pantheon. In Rome, we purchased tickets online for only €5 and did our own visit to the Pantheon, and we saved a lot of money. Yet, there is a trick to purchasing these €5 tickets online for the Pantheon. Watch this next video right now for a step-by-step guide on how to purchase your own €5 ticket to the Pantheon in Rome, Italy. Thanks. We'll see you next time.